Okay, Paul, you have your 15 seconds of glory. Where's my hammer? You ready? Yep. Meeting come to order, please. Roll call. Press your present button, please, sir, and confirm. Recorded. Thank you. Mike, announcements?
Just a couple of quick things. First, we are off to a good start on the Tri-Union Special Area Plan. We've had good participation so far. The next public involvement meeting will be on January 18 at 6:30 at the Methodist Church out there. And then the last thing is that item 14, which is a concept plan for Barnsley subdivision, has been withdrawn.
Thank you, sir. Consideration of the minutes of November 9. What? Yes, the 9th. Any corrections? Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Vote now. Record it. Motion carries. Thank you. Mike, any old business?
No, sir.
Consideration of consent agenda. Anyone on the commission wishing to pull an item for separate discussion, please say so now. Otherwise, we will take it as a whole. Anyone? Staff?
Okay, starting with item 3, which is Arrington Retreat Section 4, a maintenance bond for the wastewater collection system, $69,840. The recommendation is to release the bond. Item 4, Arrington Retreat Section 4, maintenance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control, $348,000. Recommendation is extend in the current amount for a period of 1 year. Item 5, Kings Chapel Section 3A, maintenance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control, $126,000. Recommendation extend in the current amount for 1 year. Item 6, Kings Chapel Section 3C, maintenance bond for water, $3,125. Recommendation release the bond. Item 7, Kings Chapel Section 5, maintenance bond for water, $13,795. Recommendation release the bond. Item 8, Kings Chapel Section 7, maintenance bond for water, $11,205. Recommendation release the bond. Item 9, Kings Chapel Section 7, maintenance bond for the wastewater collection system, $27,750. Recommendation extend in the current amount for 1 year. Item 10, The Grove Section 6, maintenance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control, $300,000. Recommendation extend in the current amount for 1 year. Item 11, Vulcan Materials, performance bond for landscaping and revegetation, $63,350. Recommendation extend in the current amount for 1 year. And finally, item 12, Waterleaf Section 1, performance bond for landscaping, $25,960. Recommendation reduced to maintenance in the amount of $8,000 for a period of 6 months.
Questions on consent? Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Prepare to vote. Vote now. Record it. Whoa, come on. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 13 is a public hearing. For those of you in the audience, our procedures are as follows. You sort of signed in on the request to speak sheet. We have one requested to speak. When called on, you come to the podium and give us your comments. I would appreciate it if you would stick to that agenda item. Public hearing is now open. Mr. Paul. Oh, my bad. I did not read it. It's item 13, concept plan review for Terra Vista subdivision, containing 116 lots on 130 acres located off Long Lane in the 12th voting district. Mr. Vaden? Okay, hang on just a second. I'm going too fast here. I'll slow down. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting concept approval for this 116 lot conservation subdivision in the Rural Development 1 zoning district. The review of a concept plan is the first stage in the development approval process. Because the concept plan contains more than 49 lots, a public hearing is required. Subject property totals approximately 130 acres and is located on Long Lane, approximately 1/2 mile southeast of Carruthers Parkway. The property consists of rolling hills and steep slopes. Vast portions of the site are covered by natural resources, including woodlands, moderate and steep slopes, streams, and waterway natural areas. Approximately 54% of the site is covered in tree canopy. The proposed development consists of 116 lots, which range in size from 10,500 square feet to approximately 1 acre. The overall density is 0.89 dwelling units per acre, and 60% of the site will be preserved in open space. Subdivision is not subject to the recently adopted 100-foot buffer requirements because the concept plan was submitted prior to that requirement going into effect. Access to the proposed development will be provided by 2 entrances from Long Lane. The traffic shed analysis performed by the applicant indicates that the proposed number of lots is within acceptable limits based upon the capacity of the existing roadways, and turn lanes were not warranted. Water service will be provided by Millcrofton Utility District. Wastewater will be handled via a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system for which a site plan was approved by this body at the October 2017 meeting. It should be noted that once detailed construction and engineering plans are prepared in conjunction with the submittal of a preliminary plat, changes to the layout, including the potential for a reduction of lots, may be necessary. A landscaping plan will also be required. Staff recommends approval of this concept plan with the following conditions. The preliminary plat must address the following. Number 1, submission of roads, drainage, and erosion control plans for review and approval by the county engineer. Number 2, submission of water plans for review and approval by Millcrofton Utility District. Number 3, submission of applicable construction plans for the required wastewater treatment and disposal systems to TDEC, the county's consultant, and staff. Final plat must address the following. Number 1, prior to final plat submittal for the first section of the proposed subdivision, a zoning certificate must be obtained for the completed treatment and disposal system. Prior to the issuance of the zoning certificate, the applicant shall provide the following. A letter from TDEC indicating that said system to serve the development was installed and is functioning. B, as-built drawings showing the location of all system components and a sealed certification letter from the design engineer indicating that said system to serve this development was constructed in accordance with the approved construction plan and specifications. C, a letter from the owner/utility provider indicating that it has accepted said system to serve this development and is currently operating the same. And D, the posting of a performance bond in the amount of $120,000 for the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system as specified by the county's wastewater consultant. Number 2, prior to consideration of final plat approval, the county shall the applicant shall submit HOA documents for review and approval by the county attorney's office. The HOA documents must be submitted with the final plat, and the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. 3, establishment of a performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control. 4, establishment of a performance bond for the water improvements in favor of Millcrofton Utility District. 5, establishment of a performance bond for the wastewater collection system. 6, submission of landscaping plans and establishment of a performance bond for landscaping. 7, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And 8, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Okay, I found something on the web for an eco-certification letter from the design engineer indicating that said system to service development.
Going to open the public hearing at this time. Mr. Vaden, if you wanted to make a comment, you're welcome to do so now. I think I got it right this time. You won't have to come back a third time. That's okay.
Thank y'all. I'm here to just express my concerns. My family and I own the property on the east side of this proposed subdivision, and we've been there 100 years, and it's obviously going to affect us. So that's where our concern is. I know that's there is a lot of there are a lot of trees there. If we're looking at, I mean, I know the property. I mean, I hear the 54%, but it looks like I thought it was 75. Right? I thought they had to take down a lot of trees, a lot of old trees, a lot of standing timber. But my concern is also Long Lane. It's going to dump a lot of traffic out on a road that's hilly and curvy. I realize it's not far from Carruthers Parkway, but you got to get there. And then no shoulders on the road. I think the infrastructure's just maybe not hardly there yet. So that's my concern, that we're going to do something, get ahead of the system. But that's all I had.
Thank you, sir.
Just concern.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Commission, comments, thoughts? Sammy?
I noticed the traffic report says turn lanes are not necessary. Do we know the daily traffic on Long Lane in that area, approximately? Or did that report say anything?
Mr. McCoy, I'll let Cole Newton answer that from T-Square Engineering.
Hello, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Cole Newton, Civil Engineer with T-Square
Pull
Engineering.
that mic over where it's comfortable. There you go.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Cole Newton with T-Square, Civil Engineer. Worked on the plan in front of you. Off the top of my head, I can't remember exact traffic counts, but I mean, we could get those to you. But we did do, we did have counters out there on Long Lane, and we do have the exact numbers of what that traffic looked like. And it all came back within the county's code and regulations to not warrant any lanes on any lane additions or decel lanes or anything really on Long Lane.
Okay.
Anything else, Sammy? Is that all? Anyone else? Pete?
Saying Long Lane is acceptable in the condition it is makes me have no faith at all in traffic counts and traffic studies. There are a couple of almost 90-degree curves between Carruthers Road and the entrance to this subdivision. If they're not improved to some nature, another 130 or 260 trips a day is going to cause more accidents, because I know several Page High School kids have crashed in these curves in the last 15 or 20 years. He says traffic turn lanes were not necessary. Will these acceleration lanes be provided?
I don't think there are any traffic improvements
Well, that's
associated.
stupid.
Pete, I'm not arguing that. I just, is that correct?
That is correct. The study did not warrant them. We did an intersection study as well.
How close was your study to meeting the criteria that would require improvements? I haven't seen that, so I'm not familiar with it.
I would have to go back and look at it in more detail. I know we looked at it to follow in the county's regulations, and I don't know exactly how close it is off the top of my head, but we can go back.
Recollection if you did the study. Oh, now.
Myself, I'm a civil engineer, and I worked on the whole plan. We had a traffic department that did that, so I can't speak exactly to it, but I can provide more detail if needed.
Sammy, you want to see that?
I mean, I'll admit I've got reservations. I mean, there are some, Pete brings up some good points of the 90-degree turns. And, I mean, 130 lots, I mean, that's 700 to 1,000 cars a day out there on Long Lane. But, I don't want to speculate. And
It's 116 lots.
Or
130 acres. But all that information was submitted to staff for review of all the traffic information.
Did you review that? Yes. How close were they to meeting criteria to require improvements?
I do not know. We'll have to consult with our traffic consultant for that in order to determine that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Don?
With this concerned about the traffic, would it not be feasible to wait till next month to make a judgment on this and give us a chance to see the traffic study reports?
You can make a motion, we'll find out.
That would be my motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Can I?
The motion is to delay 1 month. Yes, sir.
I mean, just on our behalf, I mean, we did, all that information has been submitted. I mean.
Not to us.
Okay.
Okay. We understand. Any further discussion? Motion is to defer for until the next meeting.
Correct.
Correct? Anyone? Prepare to vote. Vote now. Record it. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Agenda item 14 has been withdrawn. Agenda item 15, preliminary plat. Preliminary plat review for McDaniel Estates, Phase 2, containing 38 lots on 12 acres located off McDaniel Road in the 5th voting district. Staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A concept plan for this development was approved at the February 2017 meeting. The applicant is now requesting preliminary plat approval for the second phase of the development, which consists of 38 lots. Required roadway improvements recommended by the county's traffic consultant are to be completed prior to the submittal of the final plat containing the 87th lot. With the inclusion of this preliminary plat, which contains 38 lots, a total of 78 lots have been or will be platted, and therefore off-site roadway improvements are not required in conjunction with this phase. All necessary easements for the wastewater delivery system for connection to the regional wastewater system are in place. The preliminary plat is consistent in layout with that depicted on the approved concept plan. Staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat with the following conditions, which shall be addressed in conjunction with final plat consideration. Number 1, prior to final plat submittal for the first section of the proposed subdivision, a zoning certificate must be obtained for the completed treatment and disposal system. Prior to issuance of the zoning certificate, the applicant shall provide the following. A letter from TDEC indicating that said system to serve this development was installed and is functioning. B, as-built drawings showing the location of all system components and a sealed certification letter from the design engineer indicating that said system to serve this development was constructed in accordance with the approved construction plans and specifications. C, a letter from the owner/utility provider indicating that it has accepted said system to serve this development and is currently operating same. And D, the posting of a performance bond in the amount of $4,125 for landscaping improvements. 2, prior to consideration of final plat approval, the applicant shall submit HOA documents for review and approval by the county attorney's office. The HOA documents must be submitted with the final plat, and the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. 3, prior to submittal of the final plat containing the 87th lot, all off-site improvements as specified in the traffic impact analysis review letter from the county's traffic consultant must be completed in accordance with the approved plans. The developer shall be responsible for acquiring any additional rights-of-way and/or construction easements in order to complete the required improvements. 4, prior to consideration of final plat approval for the first section of the development, construction of the pedestrian bridge across the Harpeth River must be completed. 5, establishment of performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control. 6, establishment of a performance bond for water improvements in favor of Millcrofton Utility District. 7, establishment of a performance bond for the wastewater collection system. 8, submission of landscaping plans and establishment of a performance bond for landscaping. 9, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And 10, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Thank you, sir. Questions of staff? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I've got a question about the letter from the county's traffic consultant. I just want to make sure I'm clarified. When I'm looking at the letter, it says the background traffic volumes included the site-specific traffic expected to be generated by the following off-site developments, and they're listed below. I just want to make sure that we have taken the totals of all that into consideration. In other words, 800 for the Grove, 400 for Falls Grove. That's just as examples. So we've got the total, right?
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Anything else?
No.
Holly?
I guess it's like traffic questions tonight. I'm looking at the same thing that Sharon is on the traffic volumes. It looks like, and I don't know if there's anything we can do about this, but I want us at some point to take into consideration, this study was done December of 2015 to mid-October 2016. How much has traffic changed all over the county, let alone this area, which I know it's already been approved. We've been, we're in the preliminary plat, review right now, but traffic is only going to continue to get worse. And so how do we and can we provide more up-to-date records? If nothing else, not to say the development can't go in, but do they have to maybe improve the roads, right-of-ways, accelerating lanes?
Counselor, did you hear Holly's question?
I did, and I mean, presumably when this is, the study was done December to October, and then with the concept plan approval, it was early this year. The letter stated January 2017. So the presumption is that the traffic consultant took into account the potential growth associated with the subdivisions as listed, and then they also account for potential growth of the traffic in general out to a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Now, can we go back and have them revisit that mid-subdivision? But probably not, just because of the whole vesting law. Mm-hmm. But what we can do is just make sure that the traffic consultant's looking at the long-term growth. Right. I think they do, but can that be tweaked some? I don't know, maybe.
Can staff answer that? Do they look beyond current counts and project out?
Mr. Maston's are you gonna?
They do, Chairman Lackey.
How far?
They evaluate the impact and the number of trips that are generated by the proposed development. They also factor in the background traffic from developments that they know, and also they take into account projected growth on the area. So they do, at the time the study is done, anticipate.
In what time frame?
I couldn't answer that question.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Questions, comments, thoughts? Discussion? Motion? That's the list, guys. I ain't got anything else. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? I hear none. Prepare to vote. Recorded. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 16. Preliminary plat review for the Grove Phase 7 revised, containing 51 lots on 74 acres, located off Arnold Road in the 2nd voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A preliminary plat for this phase of the development was initially approved at the March 2016 meeting. That plat contained 75 lots. At the February 2017 meeting, the applicant requested and was granted approval of a revised preliminary plat which increased the lot sizes and decreased the number of lots within the space to 40. The applicant is now requesting approval of a second revised preliminary plat which increases the total number of lots within the phase to 51. The plat remains consistent in layout with that depicted on the concept plan, and the overall number of lots within the development has not changed. The proposed layout contains minor changes associated with the configuration of roadways and building lots, which is typical at this stage of the development. As was the case with the prior preliminary plats, the applicant is requesting a right-of-way width of 40 feet in order to locate sidewalks outside of the right-of-way, and a design speed of 25 miles per hour for internal roadways, and a vertical grade for roadways up to 12.5%. The staff is supportive of these requests. Staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat. In conjunction with final plat consideration, the following items must be addressed. Number 1, establishment of a performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control. 2, establishment of a performance bond for water improvements in favor of Mill Crofton Utility District. 3, establishment of a performance bond for the wastewater collection system. 4, submission of landscaping plans and establishment of a performance bond for landscaping. 5, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And 6, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Questions of staff? Aaron, do you know how long that 12.5% grade is?
No, we don't specifically. Is the applicant here?
Hunter's here.
Do you hear?
Yeah.
How long is that one that's running 12.5%?
I do not know the exact, but I know
Give me a guess.
600 feet.
How many?
600 at most, and
Okay.
it's split out throughout. So.
I didn't want it a half a mile. That's
Yeah,
what
no.
I understand. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Motion? Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Prepare to vote. Vote now. Record it. Motion carries. Agenda item 17, final plat. Final plat review for Homestead Valley, large lot easement subdivision containing 4 lots on 47.5 acres located off Heartland Road in the 8th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The property in question is approximately 48 acres in size and is located off Heartland Road, approximately 1/2 mile from Farmington Drive. The applicant is requesting approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create 4 lots, which will be the 2nd through 5th lots off an existing 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement. At this time, staff recommends that action on this item be deferred until the January 11, 2018 meeting to allow sufficient time for staff to confirm water and sewer availability.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion? Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Prepare to vote. Vote now. Record it. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 18, final plat review for Foxen Canyon, Section 1, containing 26 lots on 34.3 acres located off of Heartland Road in the 8th voting district. Staff?
The preliminary plat for this development was approved by this body at the August 2016 meeting. The applicant is now requesting final plat approval for Section 1 of the development, which consists of 26 lots. The final plat is consistent in layout to that depicted on the approved preliminary plat. Staff recommends approval of this final plat with the following conditions. 1, the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. 2, the posting of a performance bond in the amount of $767,000 for roads, drainage, and erosion control. 3, the posting of a performance bond in the amount of $441,333.75 for water improvements as specified by Mallory Valley Utility District. 4, the posting of a maintenance bond in the amount of $57,600 for sewer improvements as specified by Harpeth Wastewater Cooperative. 5, the posting of a maintenance bond in the amount of $4,521 for the landscaping comprising the Type C buffer between the portion of the proposed construction entrance that is located within Hart's Landmark subdivision and the adjacent lot that is located within the Farmington subdivision. 6, the posting of a performance bond in the amount of $36,300 for landscaping improvements within this section of the development. 7, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And 8, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Thank you, sir. Questions of staff? Was there a second? I'm sorry. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Prepare to vote. Vote now. Record it. Motion carries. Thank you. Any other business? I saw your hand. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, would it be possible on item 13 to have the county traffic consultant here so we could talk to him on that?
You need to ask the staff that. Mike?
You know, on item 13, Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this one was subject to the traffic shed analysis that was reviewed in-house. They also did a turn lane warrant analysis that was shared with the highway department who approved this, but our consultant, our traffic consultant was not involved in the review of this because of the fact that they met the traffic shed requirements.
Could you ask staff to bring their file with them next time?
We'll come prepared with the information that you're looking for, and I'm sure the applicant will as well.
That would be good. Anything else?
Move, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you.